Okay, so multiplying the complex numbers, we multiply real numbers times imaginary numbers, right? If I say I times negative 3i, I mean, you're automatically, when you got a negative 3 multiplying times I, that's a real times an imaginary. So we've already crossed that bridge, right? What do I get if I multiply I times negative 3i? Negative 3i squared. But then, because I equals the square root of negative 1, therefore I squared equals negative 1. Right? You square both sides. So that gives us a substitution to make. Whenever you see an I squared, replace it with a negative 1. So that makes this negative 3 times negative 1, which is 3. This next one here, okay. In Algebra 2, we would say, if I've got the product of radicals, then I can make the radical of one product. I could put this together in one radical, which would have been negative 4 times negative 16, which is positive 64. And what's the square root of 64? 8. And you would be wrong, okay? Because that property, the product property, only works when both of your factors are real numbers. And these are not real numbers because they're square roots of negatives. So instead, you have to, use I to simplify each factor and then multiply. Right? What would be the square root of negative 4? 2i. Right? And what is the square root of negative 16? 4i. Right? And when I multiply those, I get 8i squared, which is negative 8. Right? So notice that's why this is wrong. Right? It's not positive 8. It's actually negative 8. And if you would have tried to apply that property, it would not have worked. Okay. Now, at this point, I'll remind you that you can do this in your calculator. Right? If you're not going to be good at this, and a lot of kids these days are not, then there's nothing wrong with using the calculator to do something like this FOIL right here. Remember that in the calculator, in order to do calculations with complex numbers, you got to go to the mode, and notice on this line right here that it's set to real. You can highlight the a plus bi and hit enter. So go all the way down there, move it over, hit enter. Now you're in the right mode. Okay. If I want to enter, for example, like 2 minus I on the screen, I got to know where's the I. Where's the character I on your calculator? And it's on the decimal point. It's the second decimal point. So you could enter this, use the parentheses and all, 2 minus I, parentheses, 4 plus 3i. You don't need to put a multiply in between them. It knows what to do. As long as it's in the right mode, it'll do the rest for you. Okay. Now, if we were to FOIL it, this is what it would look like, right? 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 3i is 6i. 4 times negative I is minus 4i. And negative I times positive 3i, negative 3i squared. Right? So that is 8 plus 6i minus 4i plus 3. Okay, now you can combine the real parts, combine the imaginary parts. 8 plus 3, 11, and plus 2i. So let me stop that